spend some of your afternoon with us after we know you've had a long day in the classroom. You are here today to learn more about Lexile tools for secondary teachers of reading and all content areas. My name is Beth Nash. I am a test measurement specialist here at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So that means any of our state-created assessments like check-ins or check-ins 2.0 or EOGs or EOCs, if they are math and science at the middle school or high school level, that's what I spend my days doing. And I have other colleagues who work on our reading assessments and our elementary assessments. Before we get started, just a couple quick housekeeping reminders to go over some frequently asked questions. Due to the size of the webinar today, everyone is muted. We are recording, and that recording will be sent out either late today or tomorrow, depending on how quickly the system processes the video. The recording will come from North Carolina Public Schools. It's a listserv, and you will be able to share that recording with other people, and we will also be posting it to our website. We are not offering CEUs for participation in today's webinar. Before we shift over to Metametrics, let me give a quick update and introduction to what Metametrics is and why you're here. We appreciate you joining us today. We partner with Metametrics to provide Lexile and Quantiles for our EOG and EOC assessments. Through this partnership, teachers across the state have access to a free, wonderful resource called the Lexile and Quantile Hub. The Hub is a one-stop shop where teachers can find lots of resources to support learning in and out of the classroom. And did I mention that it's totally free? In just a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Kate Treadway, and she's going to show you how to access the Hub and what resources are included. As she goes through, her teammate Jane will be there to add links into the chat button. And if you have questions, if you would please just send those to everyone in the Q&A feature. We appreciate your time today, ladies. Thank you for joining us. And with that, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We are excited to be here. I'm going to turn my camera on to introduce myself, and then I'm going to turn it back off because we've been having some unstable internet here in Chicago suburbs today. So we don't want to take any risks there today. So before we get started, very quickly, a little background on me. As Beth said, my name is Kate Treadway. I am coming from a background of the K through 5 elementary space. I was a teacher in that realm for 16 years, doing various things, teaching first, second, and fifth grades, as well as working as a literacy specialist, literacy coach, working with the MTSS process, and as you know, teachers wear a million hats, so all of those different titles. I'm very excited to be here today to share the Lexile Hub with you all and to maybe give you some tools that are going to make teaching a little easier, because we could all use that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off, and I'm going to get started with today's webinar. As Beth said, this is a Lexile Hub tour, as we like to call it, for secondary educators. And I have my colleague, Jane, is here with us today. Matt Copeland and Dave Barnes are both out traveling, so they are not with us today. But Jane is also a former educator, and she comes to us with a whole host of experience. So she is a great person to have in the chat answering questions. All right, for our session today, we're going to start with a quick review of the Lexile framework, just to get everyone on the same page, and the two kinds of Lexile measures available. Then we'll get straight to the Hub itself. We'll go live to the Hub, which is our one-stop shop for all of the various Lexile tools. We'll examine the whole host of support resources available for you, including our quick start guides we have to help get you up and running in the hub, and also some video tutorials. And finally, we will explore many of the individual tools you can utilize in the classroom and at home with students and with parents. So that is our agenda for today. Let's go ahead and start with a quick refresher on what Lexile measures are and where you can find them in the state of North Carolina. So here we have our Lexile scale in the middle. It involves two kinds of measures, a measure of text complexity, but also a measure of reader ability, and they're both on the same scale. So the higher the Lexile number, the more sophisticated a reader's skill. And likewise, the higher the Lexile number, the more complexity a text contains. And we're going to look at the difference between a couple texts to kind of see how those texts differ when we have a higher measure. The Lexile framework for reading allows us to match students and text to maximize their learning opportunities. If texts are too complex, students can grow frustrated and they may stop reading. Again, conversely, if texts are too simple, students can sometimes grow bored, and that may also cause them to stop reading. We want to ensure that we land somewhere in the middle. Much like the Goldilocks fairy tale, we know that student learning is optimized when a match between readers and text is just right. In this example, we can have confidence that a 770L reader on the left will see enough familiar vocabulary and simple sentence structure to make reading comfortable, but also enough new vocabulary and more complex sentence structure to continue to grow her reading skills. And I believe Jane is going to put into the chat an overview of the Lexile framework and some resources for you on that framework just as a review. So as I said, I would show a couple different Lexile measured text to show the difference. I know that text is very small, but this is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. And as you can see, it is a 940L, which means it comes in at 940 on the Lexile scale. You can see in the text, if you squint real hard, that the sentences are somewhat shorter than they would be at a higher level. And we can see over here with our indicators that word frequency or some difficult words might be popping up a little bit less. So this screenshot of the indicators is from our Find a Book tool, which we're going to look at later, a little teaser there for you. So this is an example of a 940L. And then we have the Scarlet Letter here by Nathaniel Hawthorne. As you can see, the text is a lot more dense, a lot more complex, and that makes this text have a 1420L measurement. So those are just two example texts that show you kind of how they differ and how a text gets a little bit more difficult on the way up the scale. So just quickly, I'm going to continue my presentation, but I did want to know what your role in the district or the state is so that we can kind of see who we have with us today. You can just go ahead and throw that in the chat and just kind of give us an idea of who we have, and that will help me to show you the best tools for who we have with us today. So go ahead and take a second to do that, and I will continue working on our presentation.
So, Kate, if I can interrupt for a moment, most folks are sending it privately to me, which is just perfectly fine. We have media coordinators, we have middle school English language arts teachers, we have high school English teachers, we have exceptional children's teachers for self-contained middle school. We have high school exceptional children's teachers. We have 612 content coordinators, curriculum coordinators, teachers of students who English is a second language. We have a middle school science teacher. We have middle school English Language Arts on the virtual platform. We have district instructional coaches. We have testing and accountability coordinators. We have freshman English teachers. We have 612 special education resource teachers and high school English teachers. So a very wide mix of folks today.
Yes, great. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Hey Beth, this is Jane, and just wanted to double check. I'm sending links to all attendees in the chat field, and are you folks seeing those?
Jane, I'm not seeing those.
Okay, then I will, well, I'm sending it, let's see.
Some people are saying yes and some are saying no. So
Okay.
that drop-down menu defaults to the host. So I think that's why it is a lot of these are going
Let me
to
select everyone because I've got it selected at attendees, and let's see if that helps. Okay, thanks. Go ahead. Just wanted to double check, but hopefully this will make a difference. Thanks.
great. All right. Let's go ahead and talk quickly about where we can find these measures as educators in North Carolina. So we're going to talk about, you can find these measures on state summative assessments. You can find them on many of the interim or benchmark assessments used at your local district level and in many instructional programs as well. Your state summative assessments have been linked with both frameworks in these end of the year text report Lexile measures in addition to scale scores. Additionally, there are many local schools and districts that may be using an interim benchmark assessment or instructional program that also reports these measures. We are not a separate test. There's no Lexile test. We just link with other existing tests that students might be taking, and then they're able to, with their score, also receive a Lexile measure. So you may be receiving multiple, Jane, I see that chat that just came through, so maybe that was the key to fixing it. Multiple Lexile measures even within the same school year. So tracking student performance on that same scale, but across many different assessments. So zeroing in on North Carolina, your scores, as Beth said, are reported on the end of grade for grades 3 through 8, as well as the end of course for English 2 and also the ACT. So that is a place where you can find summative Lexile measures. And then here is an example of your individual score report for a grade 3 end of grade. And you can see down here highlighted in the box, the Lexile level is placed there on the report, and it also gives a quick description for parents on what a Lexile measure is in case they are not familiar. So that is where in North Carolina you can find these Lexile measures in addition to any interim or local tests that may be used. As we continue on, I know you may be thinking, I want to use Lexile text in the classroom. I'm going to find my students' Lexile measures, and then I'm going to match them with text. So these are a few great places to find Lexile measured text. So text that are already have a Lexile measure on them. You can use them in the classroom or to match them with individual students. So we have ReadWorks, we have Reading Vine, Common Lit, and then also News ELA or Newsella, depending on how you say it. I've heard it both ways. With News ELA, it's really great because you can be using the same article, but kind of change the Lexile level on that article. So the whole class can be reading about the same topic, but be using different complexity levels in order to best match their needs. Okay. We also here at Metametrics in the hub and with our measures are they're a great way to prepare students for post-secondary pursuits. And I did hear that we have some high school teachers and educators. So we're going to touch more on this when we go into the hub, but I do kind of want to give you a preview so your mind is thinking about that. That Lexile measures are a great way to track growth over time. Lexile measures are the only measures that go from K all the way to 12, so can track progress across school years and within the school years. Measures help us to gauge our students' abilities and growth against other students nationally. We do have national norms, and then they help students understand their abilities in relationship to the demands of college and careers, which is what we're going to go into more in the hub. Just to give you a little bit of a preview, the Lexile measures offer a roadmap to guiding students in their post-secondary pursuits. So they offer a guide and a goal for students to aim for in order to be successful in their post-secondary pursuits. When we take a look at our career database, which is a tool in the hub, and our growth planner tools, you'll see these guides in action. As you will see as we go into the hub, in our growth planner on the hub, we have a variety of careers and their target Lexile and Quantile measures that students will need to be successful in those specific careers. So students can choose a career and kind of see what they need to aim for. As you can see here, just an example career, an electrician career will need a 1270 Lexile demand and a quantile level of 1045Q. So that again gives students something to aim for, and I will show you it can make in the growth planner in the hub, it can make a kind of individualized graph that gives the students trajectory as to where they're going and what they may need to do. As we can see here, a couple of other careers. We have electrician, construction laborer, and welder. Again, those varying Lexile and Quantile measures, which are great for students to see as a target for what they need to aim for. So as we wrap up kind of our review of the Lexile framework and move toward our hub tour, just to sum up what we have, the Lexile framework helps target instruction to our students' ability levels. So any group of students obviously has a wide range of reading and mathematical abilities, and by targeting our instruction and targeting our materials, so being able to find Lexile measured materials directly to each student's unique ability level, we can optimize the learning that occurs. Second on this list, you'll also see that we have the ability to promote growth and monitor the progress of our students, which is very important these days as we create goals for students who may be a little bit behind and kind of help move them forward. Because these frameworks have been linked with a variety of different assessments and a variety of instructional programs, these scales walk across a child's entire K-12 learning experience, as I mentioned. And that leads me directly into number 3 on the list, and that's the ability to communicate student achievement more effectively to a variety of stakeholders without having to change scales or systems with each new test, as we are linked with so many different tests that students are already taking. All right, so let's get into the best part of today, which is talking about how educators can get access to the hub and all of the tools that we'll be looking at. So as Beth mentioned, this is all free to North Carolina educators, and accessing the hub can be done by visiting hub.lexile.com. The hub is compatible with desktop and laptop computers and most tablets. We recommend using Google Chrome or Firefox as your browser, as the hub will not work with Internet Explorer because of security and data privacy concerns. So this is how we get to the hub. And we're just going to talk quickly about how you can create your account. If you'd like to do that kind of parallel to this presentation as we go through it, feel free to do that. Otherwise, this is being recorded, so you can go through later at your own pace and create your account and get any support you need that way. So once you get to hub.lexile.com, you're going to click on the purple register button near the top right corner of the screen. And all you're going to need for registering is an email address, a password, country, state, and your role. Educators in Metametrics partner states will need to use their work email address to gain the premium access at no cost. So some things on the hub are behind a paywall. So you want to be sure you use your school email address so that the hub recognizes you as a North Carolina educator and gives you access, premium access accordingly. Once you've created your account and get logged in, you'll know that you're logged in and receiving that premium access when you see your state logo, which is in the upper left-hand corner of the hub's main page. You can see it highlighted in red there. So that is a very quick tutorial on how to get registered in the hub and get started there. Also, before we get started live in the hub, I did want to mention any support that we offer. If you are in the hub and are having some sort of difficulty, down there on the bottom of the left-hand navigation bar, you can see a support button. So if you click that, it will take you to the support page, and you can get support with creating your account, Lexile and Quantile tools, any of those tools, student measures, text and material measures, and also frequently asked questions. So we have a great support page there that can help you out if you are feeling stuck, as well as reaching out to any of the 4 of us on our team. We would love to help you as well. Okay, I did mention that we have a great quick start guide available to help new users. So I believe Jane will be chatting that link for the quick start, which is just some quick step-by-step instructions for getting started, system requirements that you may need, support help, and also individual it's available, I'm sorry, excuse me, there's a quick start guide available for each tool to help you kind of review our session today and get any additional information that you may need. We also have this great getting started chart that Jane will share with you. It's a great resource for new users. The chart lists each tool in the hub. It lists its direct URL, a description of the tool, the intended audience, and then also links to the quick start guide and video tutorials, and a Metametrics contact for any questions that you may have. All right, so let's go ahead and get started in the hub. I'm going to, move this over so that we can see. And Jane, if you can just confirm that you can see the hub, that'd be great.
You are good to go, Kate.
Thank you. Okay, so this is our live landing page for the hub. And these are our exciting Lexile tools at the top. If I do scroll down, we have our Quantile tools as well, which we're not going to be talking about today, but are also extremely useful for teachers. So let's go through these tools. Now that we've talked about getting into the hub and finding any additional help if you need it, we can go through our tools. So Find a Book tool is one of our most popular tools. I'll go ahead and click that. And then, yep, I want to continue my session. This is our landing page for the Find a Book tool. Find a Book is, you can search for text by grade, by interest, and then also reading complexity. We have as you can see, a lot of options for searching. We have a quick search up here where you can, if you don't know what you're looking for and just want to get a Lexile measure on it, you can type it in this box. If you're looking for more of a group of texts or some suggestions that you could offer students, or students are looking themselves, they can use these different search areas so they can choose a grade level. And then we also have these qualifiers that they can use, or you can use to choose within that grade level, the different levels of text. You can search by an exact measure once you do find student measures on those assessments we have talked about. You can search by interest, which is great because we know we all have some students who are very interested in certain areas, and this could help motivate them to read. I did hear Beth mention that we have an educator who works with our EL learners. We do have a box right here in this interest category that you can click that will show you books that are just really kind of geared toward those EL learners. They might be more of the high interest, low readability texts, but that is a great qualifier to have as well for any students you may have in your class who are English learners as well. Down here, we also have our advanced educator search with our different codes here. I did mention we have our high-low. If you're looking for that specifically, we have different qualifiers as well. And then we also have our reading indicators. So our early reading indicators are available for teachers of students who have a Lexile measure of 650L and below. So those are more for our students who are learning to read. And then we also have for any book that has a Lexile measure of 660L and above, you will get this sentence length and word frequency indicators. So that'll tell you, excuse me, the demand that each text has. You can also search, one second, I'm just going to take a quick drink of water. Okay, you can also search using these indicators, these qualifiers as well. So you could click what you want the demand to be in sentence length if you have a student that needs a lower demand, and search that way. So lots of options to search by book. Let me just go ahead and click general literature and search, and you can see here we have our results of 217,000 plus books. So once you're into your search and you have you're kind of trying to narrow it down, we do have our filter bar over here, which is really great for as I said, narrowing it down. So we have this slider here where you can move the slider to, let's say my student is reading at a 950L, I can put it right there. And then I'm only going to get books in that range. I can move both of them here and it's going to give me books in that range. We have, once I hit apply, of course, we have our early reading indicators that teachers can search by, as well as those upper level indicators. And then we have all of our codes here that we can search by. So let me just click on a text to show you the really great stuff we have inside of each book page. So here we have The Story of Flying. We can see clearly here it's a 760L measured book. And we can see author, age range, page count, all of that fun stuff. The best part of each book in the Find a Book tool is the vocabulary. So there are vocabulary words that have been pulled from the specific text that may be they're either very important to understanding the text, or they may trip your students up somewhat when they're reading. So we can use these books to really front load that vocabulary, and that's also great for any students who are learning English as well. Those give you just a really clear target of vocabulary words to teach before you have students read. We also have, for each text in the Find a Book tool, we have our sentence length and word frequency qualifiers. So for this particular book, The Story of Flying, you can see we have a pretty high demand of sentence length. That means our sentence lengths are varying. And also, as you get higher in that demand for sentence length, there may be clauses that are present and communicate the relationship between different ideas. We also have our word frequency, which means the higher we get for that demand, the harder the words are going to be. So they're going to be more rare words, words that aren't seen as much. So that is what those indicators mean. Again, you can search by those indicators in the Find a Book as well. Just a couple other things I want to show you on this page with this great information about these books. We have other books in the series. So if you end up recommending a text for a student or they find a text on here, they can see other books in that series that they may enjoy reading. As well as this heart tool. I can click the heart and that's going to add it to my bookshelf. So I can save it for students can save it, or you can save it for later on for a student to use. And then if I click my bookshelf, I can see these books here that are linked that I've saved and can help me to hold on to those books to remember those titles, as well as to print labels for your classroom library, which is a really big way that a lot of teachers use our Find a Book tool as well. So that is some information about our Find a Book tool. One more thing I did just want to share this is that search page. Within this search page, we can toggle over here on the right and only search for books in Spanish. So if you have some students who are new to the country, or a dual language program where they are reading books in Spanish and need to be reading those texts, you can toggle over here and it will give you it will give you books in Spanish. So if I choose 8th grade and click search, oops, I didn't click my qualifier. It will give me books in Spanish that are great for 8th graders at this level. So we do have that option as well for our students who are needing to read in Spanish as well. So that is our Find a Book tool, which is just really full of great resources for finding books for our students that are kind of targeted at their Lexile measure and helping them to stay interested and engaged in what they're reading. So next I want to show you our analyzer, our Lexile text analyzer. We go ahead and click on that. It doesn't look that exciting at first, but I have some text here that I've saved from a news article. You may have text from a book that you want to use in class, from an article that you'd like to use in class, and you just don't know the Lexile level. This is where you're going to come to find that out. So let's say I found a great article on something that I want to use for teaching in class, and I just don't know the Lexile level, and I need to figure that out before we read to make sure it's appropriate for my students. So I'm going to go ahead and that's not what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and paste my text here. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. I have some text that I've captured from my article. I'm putting it in here, and all I need to do is click Analyze, and you can see up in this corner that we have some. You have 50 measures a month, which is more than enough if you're just kind of using for instructional materials, or a student wants to read a book and they're not sure of the Lexile measure. You can throw some text in here and it will analyze it for you. Because it's only a short snippet of the text, we have a 500 word limit. It's going to give you a range a Lexile range, as we can see up here, as opposed to an exact Lexile measure. But that is good for, just a quick, what I have no idea what this Lexile measure is, and here it gives you a range. So it's going to show you the longest sentence as well, which is helpful, and then kind of give you in that range some books that may fit in there too. The other piece to our text analyzer is our history, which I can go back and see text that I've entered, copied in there, and the ranges that they have as well. So once you've put an article or a snippet of text in there, you can always go back and see what that range was as well if you don't remember.
Kate, may I interrupt for a moment for a
Yeah.
couple questions?
Yes.
So first of all, I know Jane has been dropping some links in the chat, and I'm not sure if it's device based or what, but the links are not playing nicely. I just wanted to let everyone know Jane has sent me everything, and when I send out the email tonight, I will make sure we have working links. So don't worry if you're trying to save those links and they're not behaving right now. We'll get those cleaned up and out to you guys in a follow-up email. And then we did have a question. There is a little bit of confusion through the tools that you've been sharing. Are students able to read the full text of books in both English and Spanish? Or is this just helping you to identify books and then you need to go find the full text of the book in a bookstore or a library?
Yes, that's a great question. It is identifying the title and information about the text, and then you would need to go and find that text for students. We don't have the complete text online.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to keep the chat cleaned out and make sure we get to as many as we can, and that gets us current for the moment.
Great, thank you. All right, so that is some information about our text analyzer. Again, we have a toggle up here in the right hand corner that you can see. We toggle over to Spanish. Same concept. We put our Spanish text in here if you have a Spanish article or a Spanish book, and analyze, and it will give you a Spanish Lexile measure on our El Sistema Spanish Lexile scale. So we do have measures available in Spanish as well for students, again, who may be new to the country or who are reading in Spanish for biliteracy, qualification, anything along those lines. So we do have that option as well. And that is our Lexile Analyzer tool. So far I've showed you our Find a Book tool for helping to find text for students matched to their Lexile measure, as well as our Text Analyzer. Now I want to go into our career database, which is right here. So I'm going to click on our career database, and I want to show you, we talked a little bit about this, how we can, kind of get into our students' interests and kind of what their plans are for the future for post-secondary pursuits, and we can show them exactly what the Lexile demand is going to be for that career, and give them a goal or something to aim for as they are working. Sometimes that helps get some students engaged and get them interested and working. So I'm going to, just for example's sake, choose the career of a carpenter. So, oops. As you can see, we have a lot of options over here that you can choose for students. We have an agriculture area. We have this carpenters, it's under architecture and construction. Just a lot of options for students that may even help them kind of think of a job or think of something that may be interesting to them. And then there are qualifiers or careers within those areas as well. So for example's sake, I'm going to show carpenter. Oops, I already clicked on that. And I'm going to get a whole wealth of information here. So let's go through kind of what you will get once you choose a career. So I chose carpenter. As you can see here, we have a job summary. So that's great to share with students and say, like, is this something you would be interested in or sounds interesting to you? We also have the highest education level required and some essential education pieces that they may need in learning and becoming a carpenter. As we scroll down, we also have this really interesting information that shows median pay. This is national information, projected career growth and career openings, just kind of in the United States. Now, we can also zoom in closer to our area. I can put North Carolina in the drop down, and it's going to give me these lovely green areas on the map. So as you can see up here, the purple headers are the national information for this career. Down here I have in the green headers, I have the state information for this career. So it kind of zooms in even closer and gives students an even closer look. If I look at my map over here, you can see some of the areas, the regions that they have are a lighter green and some of them are a darker green. So if we look at our map, we can see that if we look over here, we have a lighter green, which means a lower demand for carpenters in this area of North Carolina. And then if we look over here in, for example, Wilmington, it's a darker green, which shows that there is a higher demand for carpenters in that area. So it shows students an area to particularly aim for, or where they might have even more success for that. So if we scroll down even further, we have more information about the career itself, which it's great information for once a student has chosen a career, as well as information for when they might be looking or kind of exploring different careers. It gives them more information about that. We also have related occupations here. Now I'm going to use this link right here for the growth planner to show you that, and, but it's also on your landing page for your tools as well. So this is really great. This tool we talked about as well. This is what's going to give your students a trajectory kind of to aim for, and we can also compare careers in here as well. So I'm going to, let's say my student has a Lexile measure of 1000 L. They took this test in March of this year, and they're in 9th grade. And then this is the school year start. I'm also going to click these 4 boxes up here because I want this additional data as well for my students. So this is for a particular student. I'm putting that on the growth planner graph, and it's going to show me the trajectory for this student. So where they are now, we have our key over here. And then this is their projected area for growth. This dark green line is their recommended growth. I can also see over here a nationally normed graph and kind of where they fall on that graph. So looking at our students' projected growth as opposed to their recommended growth, we can see there's a bit of a gap there, which is a great opportunity to talk about what we could do to make that up and kind of what we could, how we can help that student individually. We can also add a career. So I'm going to continue with my carpenter theme and add that in here. And this graph was also in the career database, and I did not showcase it there, so I'm going to do it here. But it's showing me for the architecture and construction realm of careers. Carpenter needs to be, reading about 1130 L, and can show me those similar careers as well for this career. I did want to mention also you can add another measure on here, from another test or from an interim test, and give you multiple data points on this growth planner graph. So this is just a really great tool for showing where a student is, where they're going, and kind of maybe what we may need to do to intervene and to work on getting college and career ready. So I am going to show you one more tool I believe we have time for, and then there are a couple of tools that we won't get to today, but we'll talk about how to get more information about those. So I did want to show you our word lists tool. This is great use for enrichment or for going back and kind of filling in any gaps that students might have in their vocabulary. This is for teaching vocabulary to students. It's also great to share with parents who are curious about what vocabulary their students should be learning or what they can do that way. So just to show you an example word list, it's literally what it says it is, a list of words. I'm going to click 9 through 12. I'm going to say I have a social studies, I'm in the social studies content area, and I'd like it in a PDF form. You can also choose spreadsheet. And it's going to give you a list of words for the social studies content area that students in 9th through 12th grade need to know. We have academic vocabulary on here. We have content specific vocabulary on here, and it is just a really great resource to have for vocabulary instruction, which we know is something that students really need and really kind of could use some beefing up in a lot of areas. So that's another tool that we can use. Very quickly, before we wrap up today, I want to show you our, I can't find it right now, our grade level charts. This is something that a lot of educators, parents are interested in. So this is where you're going to find our nationally normed information and where you're going to be able to kind of target or pinpoint exactly what levels students should be, where they should be compared with their peers nationally. So this is a great tool, especially with conferences in this time of year. Parents always want to know where their student is compared with others in their area, or in their grade level. So I'm going to choose 11th grade, and actually I'm going to go a little lower. Oh, and 9th grade. Actually, let's just do all of high school. So we have 9th through 12th grade here. That I can, so as you can see, I can choose multiple grade levels or one grade level. And then I can also choose the time of year. So I'm going to choose beginning of year and end of year because if I were to use this for conferences, I could say, here's where your student needs to be now in the fall, and here's where we're aiming for the spring. So I can also slide down here with our slider percentiles, maybe a little bit lower, that I want to show parents as well. So I have now showing my 25th percentile and then maybe my 75th percentile as I want to show students that. So that's some great information. And if that's something you want to put in front of parents at conferences or kind of give them a hard copy, because so many things are digital these days and not on paper, it is printable as well. So you can choose that specific information and show them exactly, here your student's Lexile level is maybe a 1050L right now in the fall of 9th grade. And by the end of 9th grade, they need to be at X level for X percentile. So that's another great tool that we have. So I do want to wrap up to give time for any questions. There's one tool that we didn't get to today. It's called the Measures Manager. And That's just a quick tool you can use if if you're getting multiple Lexile measures and they're very different. You know what? I'm just going to show you because it's exciting and I just want you to see it. So we have our, if you have a test that students have taken and they get a Lexile measure and then they take another test, let's say it's an interim test, and it comes back with a kind of a pretty different Lexile measure, you can put those measures in here and get the ideal Lexile measure for that student. So you may be like, I don't know what this means. I don't know why these are so different. Well, obviously, different test days, different tests as well, sometimes aren't comparable and or are a little bit different. Obviously, the student is in a different mindset that day. So you can put their information in here. So let's say I have a student who took Achieve 3000 on September 13th, and this was the measure I got. But then let's say they took a continuum benchmark, and obviously I'm just pulling these tests out. They might not be tests that you use, but there's a vast list in there that you can put in. So let's say they got an 850L on that test, and the dates of the tests do need to be within 30 days of each other for that comparability sake. So I'm going to say they took that on September 28th, and I'm going to click Analyze. And it's going to give me right up here at the top an estimated range as well as kind of their sweet spot. The This tool is taking into account the test that they took, the measure that they got, and all of that kind of stuff, and giving us this great kind of pinpoint area to work with students based on if you're struggling because those measures were kind of far apart. It gives you a great place to aim for. So I'm going to move that off my screen and we are going to finish up today. We went through those last couple tools very quickly. So I know that you probably have questions. We do have office hours every Monday and every Friday. Traditional office hours format, just virtual, where you can come and go as you please. You can pop in, ask a question, get your answer, and then go on with your day. You don't have to stay that whole time. So on Mondays, we are in office hours from 3 to 5 Eastern time, as well as on Fridays, we are there in the morning/early afternoon from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you can always get questions answered that way. If those office hours are not conducive to your schedule, you can also always email us. We are always available for questions or to schedule an appointment for another time, a one-on-one appointment. We are former educators. We love to do anything we can to help current educators and to kind of make life easier as it is. So that sums up our presentation for today on the Lexile Hub. I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time, and I know you need time to digest that and kind of take time to go through the hub, to create your own login, and to go through those tools because I know that information came at you quickly. So this is all of our kind of information on connecting with Metametrics. And then Jane has also put our individual email addresses in the chat as well. Please do reach out. We're always happy to talk with you and to answer any questions you might have, as well as our specific office hours when you can come in and know that someone will be there to answer your questions as well. So if we have, Beth, I don't know if we have any other questions that have popped up.
So Jane has been doing a great job of answering questions. I see one. I don't know that it actually went to Jane, and it's a request. Could you show us where to find the analysis tool again?
Yes, so that is our, I believe she's talking about the analyzer, and that's just in your, move this over, that's just in your Lexile once you log in. here's our homepage where you're going to log into, and it's right here on your homepage, the Lexile Text Analyzer, in order to get those Lexile measures.
All right, well, I'm going to pause for a moment to let Jane come off mute if she sees anything else, but I think we've answered the questions. Jane, are you seeing anything else?
I don't see anything else, Beth. I have shared the links, and then I do apologize for the links to those short little videos that we have, but I have sent those to you, Beth, via email so that you can add those to the resources that you share out later on this evening. Bless your heart, working after hours. But I do encourage everyone to read my last post, and that is, if we can bring professional learning such as this, and we can do anything virtual. The hub tour, like Kate just did, she'd love to do it for anybody else, any district, or even school here in North Carolina. Or if you're interested, or you know colleagues that are interested in the Quantile tools and or the Quantile 101 type thing, that's a part of what we offer our partners. And North Carolina has been a partner for many years. So we would love to work with individual schools and or school districts. Don't take this on yourself. Just shoot us an email and we will pull our calendars together and we can set up something to be done virtually at about any time during the school day or after the school day. So that's why we're here. So thanks for joining. And I think that's it from the chat side of things, Beth, I believe. I
All
think I've
right.
got them all answered.
Well, I did copy that your comment there about offering to help out in the future, and that will also come out in this follow-up email. I know sometimes it's hard if you've only got one screen, or I know some of our teachers are listening on the drive home or watching from the car while their kids are at soccer practice. So we've got all these things saved for you, and those will come out later.
Yes.
With that, I would like to say thank you to Kate and Jane. The Hub really is a one-stop shop resource that is free because of our partnership with Metametrics. We sincerely hope that our teachers have been able to explore the Hub, and we know that they can find value in this resource. Thank you for joining us. Again, a link to the recording will come out late today to anyone who registered. That link will be from North Carolina Public Schools, and you will be able to share that with anyone in your school that you would like to share the information with. And with that, I'll sign us off. Say thank you again to our Metametrics friends. Thank you for choosing to spend an hour with us this afternoon, and good night, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Thank you.